Welcome into Pay Dirt Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. This is Will Dunn in here with Nick Truschel and Seth Coggin. Fresh from overseas there, Seth. How was your
Sir,
long weekend?
first trip abroad. Pretty great time. Eye-opening experience to see a little bit more of the world. I've spent about 99.9% of my life in the American South. So very nice to see a different culture, different way of life. But you know, met a lot of people. They're just people, just the same. Just have a little different diet, a little different language. They don't watch American football, which was kind of a brutal thing for me. Um, yeah, it was a gritty weekend for me and the Razorbacks. So we're about 7 hours ahead where I was. So a 6 p.m. kickoff for the Razorbacks meant a 1 a.m. kickoff for me. I was actually there for a wedding, so I'm sitting there, and fall weddings are already kind of they're kind of taboo here in the South. You don't want to be the guy with the fall wedding. Let's be honest. Like that just doesn't want to be.
Get it done. Get it done in the spring or the summer.
And so, I mean, I kind of say all this in jest. I was very happy to be there. It was very fun. My Christina was in a wedding there in Slovakia.
This was in Ukraine, correct?
In Slovakia, so Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It does border Ukraine.
I knew it was somewhere over there.
Yeah. Well,
probably not good to be in Ukraine right now.
The culture, yeah. The culture
now
of
that I say that.
Yeah, well, the culture of weddings there is just quite different too. It was about well, let's see, the wedding started at 4 p.m. and we left as the first couple people to leave at like 12:45 a.m. And they went until about 4 in the evening. So just an all-day party affair, foreign language. Now everyone speaks a lot of English, so I got along fine, and Christina speaks fluent Slovak. So anyway, a lot of fun. Had to watch the Razorbacks dead silent on my phone at 4 in the morning. They pulled out the win against Missouri State, who's in the top 10, by the way.
Bobby
Petrino, an offensive genius, one of the greatest offensive minds of our generation. So always good to beat someone like that. But yeah, Hogs made it. Hey, I did some research today. This is all I want to say about the Hogs All podcast. So we'll just purge you real quick and a little Aggies talk later, maybe. But you lose the turnover battle. There are things in football that really matter, like stats that continually, time after time after time, like indicate who's going to win a game. Turnover margin. So with a -3 turnover margin, you're only 16% of teams ever around that number with a -3 turnover margin have won the game. And so you just put yourself at such a big disadvantage if you lose that big. So, and you can be, anybody can be anybody if that happens. That's why football is such a crazy fun sport. Cause Arkansas and Missouri State are definitely talent wise, level wise, Arkansas is superior, but you turn the ball over 3 times, you give them that many more opportunities. Anything can happen. But luckily the Razorbacks avoided the very embarrassing upset and still won by double digits, outgained them by 200 yards, dominated that game fairly well after getting down 17-0, but you don't want to put yourself in that position. And those things can't happen versus better teams. So I had to watch that just dead quiet on my phone, on just the spottiest Wi-Fi ever at a random hostel in Eastern Europe after a 10-hour wedding. It was a gritty performance, but when we had to have it most, because we got some big weeks coming up. So that was my trip. It was really fun to experience a culture outside of my own. But I'm kind of bummed out that culture does not include college football. So I think we might have to bring it over there because they need that. They need that in their life. College football is the best.
It really is.
Yeah, one thing they definitely don't need though is Titans football, which we might want to hop into. The reason we pushed the podcast to this day was basically so we could be able to watch the Titans Monday night game, be able to watch it and then come and recap it afterwards. But wasn't much.
We hadn't done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we could have thrown an emergency pod last night. But it would have gotten visceral if we had gone last night. It would have gotten ugly. It still is going to get a little hot tonight. I got a feeling, but
what is it? Bill's score 34 unanswered, basically.
Yeah, it was 7. It was
7-7 and then 41-7, right?
Oh God.
Yeah, could have been worse.
And there was like a realization to me watching that game. Truthfully, I said this to you a second ago. I was watching our offense and I'm like, dang, we don't really have any good players. Like we have Derrick Henry, but like our offensive line
do
is
anything
really
behind the
bad.
line, yeah.
And our wide receivers, I mean, Burks looks solid, but
Woods is not that good. Like Kyle Phillips might as well go burn in hell after dropping that second punt.
Oh my.
Okay,
he was not the reason we lost that game tonight, but that is terrible.
Back-to-back drop punts. Like our wide receiver room is
that one looked so embarrassing too. That one was like
it hit him off the top of the shoulder pad.
Yeah, he tripped off on his own feet, hit him on his shoulder. Oh my, that was just insult to injury. I mean, in all honesty, I'd rather it happen in that game when like we weren't gonna win anyway. But still just such an embarrassing look. Just you only get so many opportunities to play as the Titans, to play in front of like a national NFL audience. Like, let's be real, most people don't watch the Titans on a regular basis. They might catch a few games a year or clips of us on Red Zone or something like that, but you only get a few Monday night or Sunday night football opportunities, as we're just not a very national draw. And so to just come out so flat, so ugly, so undisciplined, so unprepared, so poorly coached was just awful to see. The talent level's not there. Like the defense, I still feel like should be good, but they just got throttled last night. And let's be real for a second.
All night. I mean,
the Bills are raw. The Bills are truly at this moment in time probably the best team in football. But like that's the level we've expected the Titans to be on recently.
We're the best team in the AFC last year. I mean,
that's why last night is sobering as all get out, because which I'm going to have a little double kind of a praise and a fault of J-Rob and Vrabel here. I'm going to pair them two because they're pretty tight in terms of this, ups and downs of the Titans, considering they're kind of the biggest team we got. But it's a credit to them that they have elevated the Titans to where we expect to be one of the best teams in the NFL. It is truly a credit to the way they've built the roster and the way they've coached, that they've put us in a level of expectation where we expect to win the division and we expect to compete in the playoffs, which is a massive credit to them, because the 12 years before they got there was absolute, wandering in the desert, was truly awful. But at the same token, yeah, you've built that success, but now you're making no moves to extend that success. Like you are making we have made time after time. And some of that you can't help. Like you choose to pay Landry and you choose to let AJ Brown go. And when Landry gets hurt, then yeah, it looks like the worst move ever. But the same, if you flip that around, Landry doesn't get hurt. AJ Brown gets hurt on the Eagles, and we have a healthy Landry, then you're like, wow, they made a great decision. So like some of that, and you don't expect Taylor Lewan to go down. And that's just another losing is one thing.
I don't know. Taylor Lewan seems to get hurt every year. So
that is true. That is true. But that is one thing you still cannot control. And that just adds insult to a loss. Like, not only did you lose, not only did you get embarrassed, not only did you just play flat out awful, you also lost your starting left tackle, who has been a cornerstone of the franchise. And yeah, maybe kind of declining a little bit, but has been that guy for a long time, starting at left tackle. So just brutal all around. Changes need to be made, but Vrabel reinforced today that like no changes are going to be made. And so are you just happy with what the product you put out on the field the other night, or do you really believe it can get a lot better? Still 15 games left. I'm not going to like freak out or like get super upset or like sad or heartbroken about a week 2 loss on the road in Buffalo. Like that's a hard game to win, but it was the absolute pathetic nature in which they played that is is hopefully not indicative, but seems to be indicative of the future to come this year. But I mean, our division is terrible. It's still bad. The Jags seem improved, but they're still the Jags. Like, I don't really see them ripping off 12 wins this year. Like, yeah, they may even compete. And the Colts the Colts are a mess. And the Texans are 0-2 as well. So, I mean,
7 or 8 wins the division. So, I mean,
yeah, I'm actually praying for a 7-10 champion, AFC South championship.
That'd be
awesome.
Amazing.
That would be awesome.
So funny.
We're definitely the worst division in football, but
by far.
Good. You know what pissed me off the most? Kind of talking about our offensive line. There was one play where Greg Rousseau literally took Aaron Brewer and threw him back 20 yards. I mean, he was behind the quarterback. All that talk all season about how Aaron Brewer, man, he's small, but he's a dog. Man, he's only 290 pounds, but man, he plays with a fire out there. At this point, what does that even matter if he's getting absolutely bodied by every single player on that Bills defensive line, which also includes Daquan Jones. I didn't even realize until I watched that game that he was on the Bills, former Titans starting nose tackle for 6-7 years, whatever it was. He's been pretty good wherever he's gone. But adding Von Miller to that defense is scary as it gets. I don't know if our offensive line is just that bad. Jamarco Jones looked horrible. Aaron Brewer looked horrible. Nate Davis was getting pushed around. Henry seemed to get hit in the backfield 90% of the rushing attempts that he got. This offense is about as bad as it gets. Kind of sucks going from one of the most explosive offenses in the league to now what seems to be in the bottom 5.
Dude, I was talking about that. I actually sent this in a group text today that me and Seth were in, and it just kind of hit me. I said, man, do y'all ever think about how if Arthur Smith just stuck around 2 years longer, Titans have a good shot at a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
That's what it feels like. I mean,
probably last year was still our best time, I feel like.
We would have made it to the Super Bowl if we had Art Smith calling plays.
Yeah. I can't think about it. Todd Downing gets me in the dumps, man. Well, I just think about it.
Yeah. The other statement I made is I've been a pretty big Tannehill backer the whole time he's been starting anyway, because I think he's pretty solid. I don't think he's elite. I thought he had, under the right system, he was awesome. That year he had 40 tutties and only to 7 picks with Arthur Smith calling the plays. But I said today, not like this is a crazy statement by any means or a hot take, but Tannehill is good enough to win you a Super Bowl with a guy like Arthur Smith. He's not good enough with a guy like Todd Downing. And on the other side of that, Todd Downing, maybe the Titans could overcome it if the Titans had an elite quarterback, even if they had Todd Downing. Obviously, neither one works with the other. And it sucks because Seth Swaff said this to us. He said, Tannehill needed the best running back in the league, an elite defense, and an amazing offensive coordinator to compete for that. And what made me sad is the Titans really had that for about a year, maybe. Or I guess did Art Smith? I guess he missed the elite defenses. That's what sucked. We had it all at different times, kind of.
Yeah, that championship run, they're pretty salty. That defense was pretty good, but probably not quite as elite as last. Last year's defense was great. It was a great defense. And yeah, if you pair that with an offensive coordinator who just time and time again, I go back to the playoffs when the Bengals were calling out our offensive plays. They knew what we were running. And it just feels like we never have the right formation. We never have the right personnel in the game for the plays we try to run. That's on the coach. Put your best players in the best position to win. And he's putting it doesn't seem like we're always putting our best players in position to win, make plays. We're not getting the ball. Treylon Burks has 4 catches for 45 yards or 50 yards in the first half. And they target half. He got a half target in the second half that was thrown at his feet, behind him. Got someone's. I take up for Treylon, or I just highlight on him a lot because obviously I'm a very pro Treylon and have watched him a long time, feel a deeper personal connection to him. But it's just frustrating, and he's just my example I use because our players that should be making plays, we're not even getting them the ball. We're not even called. You gotta give. It's just so frustrating. We're so predictable. We're so predictable.
Yeah.
If it's second down, we might throw on first down, but if it's second and 10, we're running Henry, and we're doing. Oh, it's bad.
And
it's bad. We brought in 2 guys. We brought in Austin Hooper and Robert Woods. Were supposed to kind of bolster our offense, and both of them have just been non-existent. Through 2 games, and that's 2 games. There is so long. They didn't really play together in the preseason, which is fine. I don't really even hate that, way of looking at it. But still, it's just embarrassing to see how putrid the offense is. And we don't even seem to be trying to do things that work. Like, there are a few things that have worked. Like, do them more often. Like, let the guys Treylon can make a play. Like, at least give him a chance. At least give him a chance, some of our other guys, to make a play. And we just do nothing. And you're right. Tannehill cannot overcome that. Like, Tannehill is not good enough to overcome poor offensive play calling. And, like, you got to scheme guys open too. Like, that's how it works. Like, that's literally how I watched Bobby Petrino go out there and dice up Arkansas, because he's fantastic at getting his players open, like running routes that get them open. I saw a play for Ohio State the other day. I don't know if you guys saw this clip, but it was a three wide receiver set where they kind of faked a hit, or like a screen, a bubble pass out to the far wide receiver. And they also had another wide receiver behind him and another wide receiver going long for, like, and the guy that ended up catching the touchdown. Like, yeah, they have great players, but the scheme, that play call is what got them open to make a play. Like, we don't scheme anyone open. We are so predictable. Hey, we're just going to give it to 22. And that's worked in the past, but we also did unpredictable things off of that. I feel like, I think that's what is just frustrating now. And Jeff Swain, I saw today, he has like the worst pass blocking PFF grade of like any tight end, and that's your best blocking tight end.
He's supposed to be the blocker.
Everything. And then Vrabel just doubles down. Like, you just get beat 41-7. He's like, yeah, not time to make any changes. And it's like, maybe not personnel. Like, maybe it's not the time to make personnel changes, but it's time to make changes. Like, I don't know exactly what they need to be, but it is time to make changes. Or the longer he doesn't make changes, the more it's on Vrabel. Like, the longer this goes, this ineptitude, like, the more people will be calling for Vrabel. Like, he's not above getting called for. Like, he's had a roster capable of winning a Super Bowl, and what they do last year, losing the first round of the playoffs at home as a 1 seed. I mean, you don't got a lifetime contract, buddy. Like, you better get going. Yeah, you're not getting fired this year, but that seat can get hot pretty quick. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's on the hot seat. Hey, I'm not going there yet. But, if you fail to fire your coaches that are not performing, you're
going to be bad.
That. Yeah.
It'll play itself out if that's the case. But no, and that's what kind of worries me is I think the Titans honestly just need to start. You got to go in some sort of rebuild mode. And I'm not saying like the Titans are going to be like they could very well win the division. They could very well win the AFC South. But there's no way you could convince me right now this team's competing for a Super Bowl or an AFC championship or anything like that. Maybe you get in there and win a playoff game, but that is it.
No way we could beat the Chiefs or the Bills. We couldn't keep up with their offense. Like, no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I don't know what that looks like. I mean, it's only week 2, and I hate people who overreact like this usually, but
you saw it coming. It's like you saw this coming, and now it's actually coming to fruition. That's why it's frustrating.
And Seth, I feel like you used to say this a lot. Like, we kind of sold out, not completely, but for kind of 2 or 3 really good shots at a Super.
We sold out, but we didn't even go all out. It's like we went all in without really going all in, and then that's how we screwed ourselves, because we didn't win anything, and now we're not even set up for any kind of future, like Malik, in the immediate future. Maybe Malik, but I don't know. It's hard pressed for me to really at this point in time. And I tell you what, nothing would make me happier than in 15 weeks us to be dead wrong about everything.
That'd be awesome.
We could easily win 11 games and, have a really good, solid season, win the division. Not easily win 11. I'm just saying, it could happen. Like, we truly don't know.
We could stumble our way into it somehow, I guess.
Yeah. So, and this all could be wrong, and, and we could be playing our best football. That is win, and that's what Vrabel has been good at doing. That is, you need to be playing your best football at the end of the season. Like, week two does not matter in the long run. It matters as a win or loss, but it really doesn't matter how you play. That is what's frustrating about week 1 is, like, we played bad, but we could have easily won that game. Like, if we win that game and we're 1-1. I think a lot of people are a lot less like everyone was really down from that week 1 loss. And then you piled on this just embarrassing effort in week 2. And now it's like, well, dang, I don't even like the rest of the season. What's it going to be like? But I hope we're dead wrong. But the signs seem to be pointing towards major disappointment and major letdown. But, I've been wrong plenty of times in my life. So I'm not afraid to be wrong on this one. The division sucks. The next 5 games are key. We play the Colts twice, the Texans once, the Raiders, and the Commanders. So, like, those are –
you're going to win some of those.
Yeah, you got to win. You got to win at least 3. You cannot win less than 3. And you really need to win 4 probably in all reality because our schedule gets harder. That's the easier part of our schedule.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about our secondary on defense too. With Christian Fulton being out, Caleb Farley looked horrible. He looks lost out there. McCreary doesn't really seem. I mean, he's like playing all right, and then Amadi,
he's a rookie.
Dude, our secondary, Hooker played pretty well and had that what I thought should have been a pick. I don't know how it didn't get reviewed.
Which that changes the dynamic of the game a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Be honest. At that time, the game was well within reach.
It does.
But at the same time, the game was within reach when we came out of halftime.
Yeah, we were only down 10. We could have gotten a field goal if Tannehill didn't get obliterated on that sack as time was going down at about 25 seconds left. But yeah, Byard played fine. He didn't play great. He played pretty well in the run, but kind of got torched a little bit. But I mean, the whole secondary was the defense was out there all night long. We very little pass rush. I think Bud Dupree being hurt really affected that because pass rush was doing pretty well, and then it just kind of slowed down. I'm nervous about that secondary. I think we could be getting torched all night long, giving up big third downs. That's going to be something that is really scaring me.
Devontae Adams is going to rip us next week.
And then, you know what? Also, something I saw on Twitter that really pissed me off. I don't know if you guys remember basically Vrabel talking about, well, Jeff Swaim is our best blocker on the team, and he needs to be out there. Well, guess who's so far rated as the worst blocking tight end on our team? Yeah. Jeff Swaim. Like, dude, it just seems some terrible coaching blunders so far. Just trying to fight through things that aren't working instead of, and I guess that's part of not trying to freak out after week 2, 1 game. It's a week-to-week league. Yes, I get it, but I don't know, man. It just seems like we're lost on offense, have no clue what we're trying to be. Seemed like the week 1, we were going to be a passing offense out of nowhere, really trying to get Tannehill to play a lot. And then we really got into the run that wasn't working. This game, it just kind of seems like we don't have an identity like we used to with the Titans, who was going to just wear you out physically. It just seems like the offense is completely lost right now.
Well, I feel like the thing that happened this last game is right. That's the strategy used to be like wear them down with Henry. And then at a certain point, he'll either break a big one or he'll start getting 6 to 8 yard gashes, every other play. But when you get down quick or when you get down by a substantial margin, you can't really hang on that anymore. And we just had no blocking. So that was the thing. It didn't matter. We couldn't block them. Derek couldn't get past the line of scrimmage, and Tannehill was getting hit every time. That's what it came down to ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, and the Bills' front 7 might be the best in all of football. I mean, they are insane and stacked with big names too. Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, Von Miller. I mean, they're going to be nasty. I'm afraid of the Bills, and like you said, Will, I just really don't see this Titans team making any kind of big run in the playoffs. We're just not built for it.
Yeah. No, not how it looks right now. Maybe they get lucky and they get hot and catch fire and just squeak out some – because the NFL is crazy because –
yeah, it is.
It's such a marginal thing. Like, they just somehow
the teams
catch
are
a few breaks
way closer in talent than you actually think.
Yeah, they are. They are. I think that's the best point to make. The parity is legit. Like, but the Bills are just playing with something extra right now. But that's almost like playing this good in week 2 is awesome, but like you got to play that good in the playoffs. I mean, we literally saw that last year with the Titans. 13-3, awesome season, played great in the regular season. Then in one game in the playoffs, you don't play great, you lose, and it's over. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are in week 2. Now that's going to help you win games and have a favorable situation in the playoffs, but it only matters what you do in the playoffs. But got to get there to do something. So Titans better pick it up just to even get there, which has become the norm for a while there. Let's be honest. It was not the norm or even the expectation to make the playoffs. So we've come a long way, but it's seemingly like we just seem far away from a Super Bowl, which seemed very close in recent years. Yeah. It felt like we were a possibility to win a Super Bowl. And this year it just we're a possibility. We are hope to make the playoffs, but we are far from a Super Bowl team. Tannehill with a bad offensive coordinator is a terrible combination and is not capable. Tannehill with all the right factors was good. But that's what we never really said Tannehill was elite. Even the Tannehill backers, it was like Tannehill is good. He does good enough things. Like, he doesn't make a ton of mistakes. He is good enough with the surrounding cast and everything else to take us wherever we need to go. What other options are you going to bring in? That's always, it's like, you got to think it's a cost benefit analysis. Like, Tannehill is X. Like, he's pretty quantified X. Like, he's been in the league a lot of years. He's not going to turn the ball over a ton of times. He's going to make some plays. He can make some plays with his legs as well. But, you could try to get someone even better, but more than likely, if you're drafting a young guy, he's not going to, pan out. More than not, guys that you draft, even in the top 3 rounds, don't become serious franchise quarterbacks. Let's be real.
There's a lot of busts.
Yeah, there's a lot of busts. And then just certified studs in the league aren't up for grabs very often. Because if you get a star quarterback, you keep that quarterback forever. Like, Aaron Rodgers has been on the Packers forever because he's Aaron Rodgers, not because the Packers are just want to keep their quarterback around. No, it's like, we have a certified elite quarterback. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And at the end of their careers, maybe sometimes they move around. Manning had some few good years in Denver. And Tom Brady definitely has had a few good years, both won championships at second stops, but that truly was the true end of their career. Like, the other franchises were looking at next moves just for the future of the franchise. So they just don't come around. So that was kind of always the thing with Tannehill is I don't think he is the greatest quarterback in the league, but I don't know if we're going to replace him with someone better. Like, he manages our offense pretty good. He can make plays. He throws a good deep ball. But now it's just all coming tumbling down because he's pretty old too. And our offense, the inability of our offense to do anything exciting or make plays is tough to watch. Tough to watch him go out there and do that kind of just mediocrity. Didn't even move the ball last night. I mean, you can't wear down the team if you never get first downs. Frustrating.
Yeah. I've got a good segue from pro football kind of into college football because I just asked our buddy, the lawyer, Thomas Swafford, to send me a couple hot takes. And luckily he gave me an NFL one and then a college one. So it kind of works out perfectly. I'll just read them word for word. I asked him, Swaff, we're recording the pod right now, any hot takes? And his response was only one, and I believe it wholeheartedly, not just saying it for the sake of ridiculousness, which I love, as if he's admitting to his
he's admitting to being ridiculous on purpose.
Anyway, here it is. He said, Lions will win NFC North over the Packers. They're a more complete team. Hutchinson already set a rookie single-game sack record. Goff is solid and ready for a breakout year. And Rodgers' heart doesn't seem in it anymore. The Lions' 2-point loss to the Eagles, where they still managed to score 35 points, looks pretty good, seeing the way the Eagles dominated the Vikings, who were supposed to compete atop the NFC this year. Then he said, in the alternative, they will at least make the playoffs. Which kind of contradicts the believing it wholeheartedly, I guess. But
I think the best chance is probably just winning the division. That division doesn't seem super strong to me. I'm also not the biggest believer in Matt LaFleur. I think he's had some good years because it's kind of even back to what you were talking about earlier. a decent coach with an elite quarterback looks so much better. Like, and if you're an above average coach with one of the truly great quarterbacks of all time, you should look pretty good. I'm not sold on the Packers. They don't seem too good. Their wide receiver core is terrible. Horrible.
Might even be worse than the Titans.
I love watching Aaron Rodgers spin it on Sunday night, though. Still looks good.
Bears are bad. Bears are not good.
Well, yeah, but
and then the Vikings, don't look too good. So I'm with that. I can ride with that.
I mean,
I think he's got a little
Kirk
hard
on
knocks.
Monday night. You know, he's not.
He's got a little hard knocks bias. I think like the Lions
Everyone
get a little.
does.
Yeah, but I like that. I'm happy. It's a good. We got an insight into their program, and you think more highly of them than you saw more of them and you like them. So all right, let's ride.
Yeah. And then here's he said he would go ahead and turn in his college football playoff Final Four. At number 1, he has Alabama coming in at, I guess, 13-1 with one loss in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yes, sir. I was thinking it was coming.
Number 2, he has USC as the only undefeated team in the country. I actually don't hate that. USC, I mean, they look pretty good, and the Pac-12 doesn't look that good. So
yeah, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
At number 3, he has Georgia also going 13-1, but losing to Bama in the SEC championship. And at number 4, he has Oklahoma with one loss in Bedlam to Oklahoma State, but they still won the Big 12 championship.
All right. I mean, seems
which could
feasible.
get hairy because I feel like Oklahoma State will be pretty good. I don't know if they'll have if they beat Oklahoma, I don't know if they'll have more than one loss.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point there, Will. But maybe they play again that'd be crazy if they played Bedlam and then turned around and played again the SC championship or the Big 12 championship.
Big 12, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can. It's only week 3. A bold move to go ahead and put out your final top 4. But I like the play. You can't really argue with any of those options. Like, they're all undefeated at this point. There's only so many teams that are still undefeated, like that are easier to choose from. So, really going out on a limb to pick Alabama, Georgia, and Oklahoma. But USC would be interesting. They do look strong. The Pac-12 does look very weak, but I still doubt they go unscathed. That's my thing. Like, I think they definitely show up and get beat 1 week or 2, maybe. Like, I don't know. I just not truly sold on them. Flashy highlights look nice for the couple. Like, have any of us actually watched a USC game yet?
No.
I've seen a few good highlights. Yeah, they look great. When their receivers are wide open and they look great. And Lincoln Riley has a pretty, he's done some good things, obviously, with quarterbacks and offenses. So I'm saying definitely a possibility, but offense is a tricky thing, man. It can be fickle. If you don't have everything rolling on one night, you could definitely lose. You can beat a lot of teams with good offense, but you can also lose sometimes if it's just not clicking that night, or if it's a downfall, it's pouring rain, or it's super cold or something. Things happen. It's not as easy to toss the ball around the park all the time. But yeah, that's fine. I think Alabama is. I don't think Alabama's going to make it this year.
It'd be kind of crazy, but I don't disagree with you.
I don't know. I know
if Alabama and Georgia both don't make it.
I mean, I think Georgia will make it.
Georgia's
it's going to be an Arkansas, Tennessee SEC championship.
Yeah, and then why not? Would that be what would be tough? All right, what would be like the toughest thing for you? Let's say Arkansas beats Alabama, wins the West. Tennessee wins the East, beats Georgia. But then like Arkansas beats Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't get in the playoff, but Georgia does at one loss. Like how mad would you be? That
wouldn't even be able to work, would it? Like
maybe
some sort of bias, maybe.
Tennessee, maybe
two losses.
Tennessee lost. Let's say Tennessee lost Alabama, but beat Georgia, and then so they had the tiebreaker versus Georgia, and then they lost SC championship, and then Georgia made it.
I guess that could happen.
That'd be tough. Ball fans would talk about it for eternity.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, it'd be an absolutely epic season. I wouldn't hate for that to happen.
Like, if that's the worst case scenario, I don't like.
If we beat Alabama and Georgia and Florida, like all in one season, That's all you really need to tell me.
Yeah, I mean, that
there.
hasn't happened in at least like 20, probably 30 years.
Starts with Florida.
Yeah.
Starts with
10
Florida.
and a half
That's a
point
big
favorites,
one.
right?
10.5. When's the last time they were double-digit favorites versus Florida?
I mean, honestly, was the 16 game? You're probably pretty big favorites.
Yeah, I still doubt. I bet it was like 8-point favorites. I mean, that'd be a good thing to look up.
Yeah.
But I bet it wasn't double digits. Double digits pretty big in the SEC.
Especially the fact that, I mean, I assume Vegas is counting the fact that like Cedric Tillman might not play. Truthful, is Jabari Small playing?
He is questionable, but probably going to suit up.
And who is it? Samson is out, I think.
Yeah, Jimmy Callaway is he's suspended for the first half.
For punching that dude like 6 times.
Yeah, literally like full on just going Mike Tyson on a Akron player. Like, why do you care? You're up 63-6.
Well, and apparently the guy was like ripping his helmet off and stuff. And I'm just, I get all the people coming to stand up for Callaway, but at the same time, dude, like throw one. Like, don't just start throwing 6 punches at a dude with a helmet on.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I always never understood is these guys who will just throw punches like crazy against someone who has helmet on.
At least that's like, go for the face mask grab. Nothing is more like, you have total control. Grab the face mask and
slam someone's chin right into the ground, like actually hurt them. Punching someone's helmet isn't going to hurt them.
Yeah. I don't know. That was crazy. But yeah, I mean, Vols look good coming in at number 11, dude. Number 11.
Yeah.
Florida does not look good. Almost slipped up to South Florida, let them run all over them. I mean, Tennessee's going to score points.
Yeah, Florida's about to get housed on and off. Like, I think that's the thing that no one's really. Tennessee's going to score a lot of points. That's a similar thing I'm kind of thinking in the Arkansas A&M game. A little bit different style offense. We're a little more run oriented, but like, we're looking at 2 offenses in Florida and Texas A&M that like are not very good. Like Anthony Richardson hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. And Tennessee's
going to
throw
he's going to throw 2 on Saturday, guaranteed.
Well, 2 probably is fine as long as he doesn't run for 3. So
that's the thing, though. Yeah, he
can.
I could see him running for 3.
Well, I was seeing today where their backup quarterback's out, Florida. So like they literally are not running him as much, so he doesn't get hurt or something.
Oh dang, that's really good actually.
Yeah. So I mean, he still has a scramble ability and stuff, but I'm just saying, I think we way overestimated Florida after that week 1 win, which was impressive. But before that, no one thought anything of Florida. And yeah, they squeak out a win. They absolutely squeak out a win.
To a team we thought was really good, though.
Yeah, to a team we thought was good, but it's still week 1, and they're on the road in the swamp. Like, that's a hard place to go at any time. It's a really hard place to go week 1 when everything's just so fresh. Like, you just are finding yourself. And even though, Utah is pretty strong. So it was a good win. I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying I think we way overreacted in a positive way to that win, and like by putting them in the top 15 or something. Because they're just not a top 15 team. Kentucky just dominated them. Like Kentucky manhandled them. And I think Tennessee will do something similar. It's just the stigma of the Gators over the Vols, though. Like, and every Tennessee fan, and I'm kind of outside of it, but I'm in it enough to see it and witness it and feel it a little. It's just like in recent history, in most of our cognizant lives, like Florida dominates Tennessee or finds a way to just win. It's literally some kind of voodoo or some kind of like witchcraft they have over the Vols that like they win. And you kind of thought that they broke it with the 38 in a row that they had in 2016, but it still kind of crept around.
And then just 2018, when there was the blatant missed holding call to then Florida throw a Hail Mary and beat us, was pretty painful.
Yeah. It's like
you've got 2015 with the 4th and 24, 4th and 17, whatever it was. I mean, there's just stuff happens, and that's the thing. Tennessee, I can't. Here was my thing today. I was talking to a buddy at work about this today, and he was like, "Dude, Tennessee is going to crush them." And he's not a Tennessee fan. That's why he was making this like an adamant point. He was like, "Dude, Tennessee is going to crush them." And the whole time I'm thinking, dude, Florida just like makes things happen against us.
Somehow that's what I'm saying. I talked about turnovers at the start of the show. Tennessee could come out and throw 3 interceptions, fumble the ball once, and lose the turnover battle by 3. And it's like, yeah, like if you do that versus Florida, you're not going to win. Here's the good thing though. If Tennessee plays a good game, a clean game, a solid game to, close to their ability or at it, like they should win this game. They are better than Florida as it stands. So it's nice to go into the game better than a team like that. They just have a better team. So it's going to take either a Herculean effort from the Gators, which I don't see happening in Neyland. Anthony Richardson in his press conference today was just like, they asked him about the noise level or like how that might affect him. And he literally said, well, I play in front, the swamp's pretty crazy. I play in the swamp. So, it's going to be crazy at Neyland, but like, I'm ready for it. And it's like, dude, you're just wrong. You're just flat out equating.
Neyland is different.
Yeah. You might understand what a big stadium does sound, but it's not against you. Having that with you is way different. Do you think Florida wins that game against Utah if they're at Utah? No,
probably not.
I think they lose by 10 points, maybe more. Like literally that game being in this, like having the crowd, like the Neyland crowd that's about to be there Saturday, which is about to be one of the rowdiest crowds we've seen probably in college football in the last few years. Like they get up for the Gators and they're coming and you got a almost top 10 team that you're cheering for, which makes it even more lit. Like you're just in it.
And you're
and
angry.
There's 14,000 more fans going to be in Neyland too. Like that's going to,
that's just an ignorant statement to make from a quarterback to be like, oh yeah, I play in a crazy environment, my home field. It's like, dog.
That's super similar to when Austin Appleby, the last Florida Gator quarterback to lose to the Vols, in his press conference before the game, they asked him about it. And he was a transfer from Purdue. And I remember he talked about, he's like, I've played in crazy stadiums. And he mentioned Memorial Stadium, Nebraska as one of them. And I remembered, I was like, wait a second, let me pull up this dude's stat sheet from that game. And he threw like 3 picks for like 26 yards. Like it was garbage. And I was like, yeah, dude, you've played there, but it's not easy, apparently.
Yeah, but you played there, but you didn't perform there.
Yeah.
Just because you've seen something doesn't mean,
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention, though, that I meant to say earlier when I was talking about Florida kind of having our number, but also let's not forget, to all the Tennessee fans chalking this up or going in super confident, you did not look very good against a Pittsburgh team with their backup quarterback hobbling around on one leg. So, and he couldn't throw either. So I'm just saying Anthony Richardson is probably going to cause a few more problems than that guy. And I'm not saying you can't stop him. I'm not saying you can't shut him down, honestly. But there is cause for concern. There's no reason to be going in overly confident to a Florida game.
100%. Yeah. And I mean, just like we've been talking about, especially when we get into SEC play, I think teams like Missouri and Vanderbilt, I mean, we can kind of chalk those up as wins. But any team like Kentucky or Florida, South Carolina, most of the time, none of those games are just gimmies. So I don't think any real college football fan is not going to go into this game thinking, oh, well, I'm not worried at all. There's no possible way we could lose this. Yeah, and if Keaton Slovis plays that whole Pitt game, we probably lose, honestly. I mean, there's a good chance we lose that game. So we cannot be going in cocky. We're a little banged up as well. Cedric Tillman, he's kind of questionable for this game as well. And he's one of those guys that all he needs to do is contribute 3 or 4 plays and he puts on 14 points for you right there. So having that explosiveness that he brings and not having that can literally drop your point total by 2 touchdowns. So that's something that we as Vols fans can't forget either.
Did y'all see Game Day reached out to Dolly?
Did they really?
Yeah, she's too busy though, which is so high level, like fame. Like, not, I mean, I guess not really. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have to like turn down Game Day every now and then. But Dolly, come on. Can you imagine Knoxville, Tennessee, awesome if Dolly Parton was up there?
I mean, it would be rocking. She is the queen of Tennessee. You can't find one Tennessean that does not love Dolly Parton. You know, people would be showing out loud and proud for Dolly.
Yeah, that'd be It'd be an epic pick. I would just love to see her out there just cheering on the Vols. She's true. She's Mount Rushmore Tennessean for sure. She's a legend.
It's like her, Bill Dance, Peyton. I guess I don't know if you count Peyton. Like, are we talking homegrown?
Yeah, I'm thinking more homegrown.
I think we're talking homegrown.
Miley Cyrus, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, both of them.
The Cyruses in general.
Oh yeah, Miley. She's not quite Mount Rushmore. I mean, do you put the presidents on there?
James K. Polk, Andrew Jackson.
Polk?
Yeah.
And then Andrew Johnson.
I'd put Andrew Jackson, Old Hickory. I think you got to put Old Hickory on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did the Trail of Tears, so that was
it was a different time. I mean, it was his era. I'm just saying. Yeah, but now we're in our era, so we can look back and be like, oh man, that's a pretty rough look for a Tennessean. Like, yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but I'm also saying, we have the choice to be like, oh yeah, that might have been, the sign of the times, but we're not going to really. I mean, maybe
I don't only think of Trail of Tears when I think of Andrew Jackson, though. He's a great Tennessean.
Yeah,
maybe he shouldn't have done it the way he did, but I'm glad we have the land we do. I mean,
we're getting too far into this.
Yeah, we're gonna have some civil rights activists coming after us.
Yeah, exactly. What are we even talking about?
I just want to note that I was anti-Trail of Tears.
I wonder who.
Stated.
I wonder who the game day speaker will be.
Some people were talking about we need to get Tony Vitello to be a game day speaker.
Oh, that'd be sweet. I'd like that.
You could. I mean, Tennessee would like it. It depends on how famous you want to go.
He'd be a good guest. Like he would do a good job too. That's which would.
I mean, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of big name Vols fans out there.
You think Peyton would come back? Has he ever done it?
I'm sure he has. I think he has.
Yeah,
we always lose though when he's in attendance.
Yeah,
who cares? He's still Peyton. It's awesome.
Really he'd do like Morgan Wallen, but I think he's.
I was gonna say they were gonna. I bet they'd do someone like that. Do like Kenny Chesney and piss everyone off.
Dude, if they do Kenny Chesney, I will be pissed off. He's
that's what I'm saying.
I'm kind of not a Kenny Chesney fan.
Wait,
someone I don't know if this was true at all. I saw it on Twitter and it like flashed before my eyes, so I didn't get a good look at it. So don't quote me. But I saw Steve Spurrier pop up, which kind of makes sense because it's like Johnson City, but Florida coach.
That'd be awful.
I mean, I would hate it.
Didn't he go to Science Hill?
I don't know. It's from Johnson City.
Yeah, that's it. That is Johnson City.
And he hates the Vols. He hates the Vols.
Yeah, that'd be a battle.
He always picks the Vols to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. I'm trying to think.
Get Miley. You can get Miley. Get Miley Cyrus.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, Katy Perry.
Pretty cool, honestly.
Cyrus.
I mean, what about? I heard one of my friends was suggesting. So these were the four. We've already named three. That there was this poll that was sent in a group chat that I'm in with Dolly Parton, Morgan Wallen, Tony Vitello. But someone also threw out the idea of Candace Parker.
Yeah, you could do Candace, or you could honestly probably do Grant Williams.
Yeah, I'd honestly prefer Candace. She's a true icon.
Oh yeah,
she's a legend.
Yeah, she's women's basketball royalty at this point.
I'm thinking. So you mentioned Vitello, and I would like that. I mean, I'm thinking I'd like Muss to be the guest picker when they come to Arkansas, Alabama. I'm forecasting that. They haven't said that, but someone mentioned him doing as like an Arkansas game day picker, and I was like, yeah, that would make sense. He's kind of like a content legend. Like him going on game day would be sick. Plus but Arkansas fans would love it, but is that as much of a national draw? I don't know, but Vitello's cool. See, that's why I think it could work, because Vitello would be awesome. He'd be a good actual, like, he'd probably do a pretty good job, like have some in-depth thinking going into it.
He'd do his research, I think. Yeah.
If I was really ever on game day picking, like, I don't know why I ever would be, but I'd make sure to have some really good talking points, not go in it like Jack Harlow and just be like, yeah, Cincinnati.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, that was really dumb. And it was extra dumb because Cincinnati didn't even come close. You're gonna pick.
Speaking of Seth, your Hogs have a big game coming up, and
they do.
Yeah, I was just as shocked by the line as you were, but let's get into Hogs Aggies.
Hogs Aggies, always a fun one. They only got a few more years in the Metroplex, so down in Dallas. It is a really fun game when they meet in Jerry's World. Just a lot of students from both schools get to come. That stadium is awesome. But at the same time, it does hurt. Like every other year, that counts as a home game for us. So we only have like 3 SEC home games on campus, which kind of hurts. But when it's the opposite year, when you have 4 home games and a neutral site game, it's pretty nice. So it's kind of different to different. A&M is a slight favorite. At first, I saw something that came out. They were like a touchdown favorite, and I went almost berserk, just because like their offense only scored a touchdown against Appalachian State. So how are you going to say they're a touchdown favorite versus Arkansas, who's averaging like 35 points a game against like pretty good teams? Not like we've been truly playing 3 cupcakes. We have an SEC win already, which they don't. And I would say I would put our Miami and Cincinnati wins in a pretty similar category of like home wins over pretty good ranked teams. I don't think Miami is anything that special. I know they were ranked number 13, but like I don't really see them as the 13th best. They're not the 13th best team in the country. I think A&M's offense is pretty poor. That's what it comes down to for me, is that our biggest weakness is our secondary by bar none. We lead the nation in sacks. This stat's almost impossible to do. We lead the nation in sacks by 2. Like we've just been crushing it, rushing the passer, but we have the worst secondary in like the nation in terms of yards per game allowed. Now
that's usually not.
Oh, it's bad. Now it's 3 games in, so some numbers get skewed. Like Spencer Rattler had in pure desperation mode had like 200 passing yards in the 4th quarter against us in a game we already had won. Like garbage stats kind of like that do hurt you in like a true statistical category. But still, just that's our biggest weakness. But it happens to coincide with Texas A&M's biggest weakness, which is throwing the ball. They won last week, but they got outgained in yards. They got outgained in first downs. They lost the time of possession. Like, yeah, they won and they scored 17 whole points. Like, I'm not really just overwhelmed at a team scoring 17 points against Miami. Now their defense did pretty good. Miami had more scoring opportunities than Texas A&M, and they walked away with 9 points. So, like, I'm just saying, I think it's a little bit of fool's gold that they came back and won that game. I think they put a lot of effort into coming back to win that game after such an embarrassing loss to App State. But I just don't think they're that good. I think, like we said, anything can happen. I would just expect I truly expect I see the world through Razorback tinted glasses. I understand that. But objectively, I've watched Arkansas be so bad that I can recognize when our offensive line is dominant. Rocket Sanders leads the SEC in rushing. KJ Jefferson has been uber efficient and has looked fantastic. He has 1 interception all year, and that pass was a perfectly placed ball in the guy's breadbasket that he just dropped and he tipped up in the air. So he's super efficient. We lost a turnover battle by 3 the other day, which 2 fumbles and an interception like that. And that's just, and yeah, it was not good in that game, but it's not like a major concern for me. That's not how we play that. Like we typically play very clean, very solid football. I just think our offense is going to outpace theirs. Their defense is very good, but I think we will score enough where we're going to really challenge them to have to score 25 plus points. And I just don't see them doing it. I really don't. They racked up 500 yards. They have 497 yards of offense. I did some deep statistical dive today on the Aggies and the Hogs. Their offense had 497 yards of offense in week 1 against Sam Houston State. So, decent performance there, but also in the next 2 games against Appalachian State and Miami, not like exactly defensive juggernauts, may end up having Appalachian State gave up about 600 yards and 60 points to North Carolina the week before. I've mentioned it. They didn't automatically just get to be Alabama 2010. Like, they've had 444 combined yards. They've scored 24 offensive points in 2 games versus versus higher level opponents. And that's not even like, elite opponents. That's just pretty good opponents. I just don't see them scoring enough to really outrace the Hog. It may be fairly low scoring, but I just like our offense more. We got more playmakers. We got so many games, especially when your talent level is comparable, come down to quarterback play. And our quarterback is just crazy a better game changer than their quarterback. He's a better playmaker. He's more consistent. He's more dynamic. Like, when your quarterback void is that big, I think people are way underestimating how much that can. And they can't rush the ball, and we're leading the SEC in rushing. Like we should control this game. Like this actually should be one of our. I just don't really see. I just haven't seen anything from A&M to really put fear in me. Now we've lost 9 out of the last 10 to A&M. It's very honestly kind of mirrors the Florida, like, and they've been heartbreaking losses, like last minute losses. Most of them. Now some of them they beat us a little bit, but just a lot of opportunities to win for us. And just for whatever reason, they just find a way. But I think we kind of broke it last year when we dominated. I mean, we dominated Texas A&M last year. And I think we've gotten better, and I don't see them as getting better. So Max Johnson seems to have done a little better, but he went 10 of 20 for 140 yards. And that's your better option against a Miami team who's not necessarily known as the 85 Bears. Like, that's your best option at quarterback, is that's what you got. So I don't know. I think we'll rattle them pretty good. I think we'll handle them. They have had trouble. They've had some trouble stopping the run. And I think all of our strengths play into their weaknesses a little bit. And their biggest weakness is also is only our biggest weakness too. Passing the ball, like vertically downfield, is kind of a big weakness for them. And that would be what I would really consider our only real weakness as a team, is that secondary. And that's a problem but we're also getting one of our better players back on defense. Miles Slusher's coming back. So I got the Hogs winning by double digits. I really don't think that's crazy to say. I truly would have expected Arkansas to be about a 5-point favorite if I had really been handicapping. Just because Arkansas, they've just put up a lot more points. We've just scored a lot more points. I think, and at the end of the day, like, that's what you got to have, more points to win the game. I think our offense versus their defense is a bigger or maybe it's not a mismatch, but I think we have enough advantages in that department than they do on offense versus our defense. Even in the areas we struggle, I think we'll control that. We've done great against the run, and we've sacked the quarterback enough to at least put pressure on him. And I don't see becoming this crazy playmaker who can hurt us. So Jimbo's offense is stagnant. It's ancient. It's void of like tremendous life. You lose at home to Appalachian State. You get embarrassed as a national top 10 program. You get dominated by Appalachian State. Not just embarrassed, you get dominated by Appalachian State. And then you come back and all you can muster is a 17-9 victory over Miami. Like, I think they really put a ton of effort into that rebound. And then it's kind of like, oh, we're back. You're not back. You beat Miami, who's most likely going to go like 8-4 in the ACC by 8 points. You scored 17 whole points. I'm not in fear at home at Kyle Field. It's week 3 for Miami too. Like, they played Bethune Cookman week 1. Yeah,
it's true.
All right, the Hogs got this one.
I'm excited. What time is that game?
Night game. So it'll be Bulls. Yeah,
that'll be a good one.
Night game in
Jersey. Yeah, it'll be fun. I think I'm excited for it. Obviously, you can never, like y'all were talking about, you can never write up any SEC game, honestly, as a dub. Like, you can never write off any opponent, and especially opponent that's a favorite in the game. I just think that line's objectively wrong, based on my brain and my eyeballs. Like, I literally have just watched Texas A&M be bad, and I've watched Arkansas be really good on offense, and they can be even better and more efficient. And they just control the ball in the fourth quarters of all these games. They're just dominating. They're dominating the line of scrimmage when it matters, when they got to have it. Like, even in this last game, I mean, it was gut check time, down 10 with 12 minutes to go. However you got there, who cares? Take away the other team. Like, you're down 10 with 12 to go. You're at the point of no return. Like, if you don't turn it on now, if you don't make a comeback now, it's like you kiss that game goodbye. And they come out and they end up winning by double. You score the last 21 points of the game. You hold them on the last 3 drives. They don't score. Like, you turn it on when you had to turn it on. And obviously you can't come out that flat. Like, you can't go down 17-0 to Texas A&M this week. Yeah, you'll be in trouble. Their defense is good. I just think in the end we overcome, and then it'll be Bama week on campus. And that one will be biggest crowd in Razorback history, It'll be nutty. It'll be a wild atmosphere.
That sounds nutty. I will say.
Be nutty.
I'm excited to watch that game. I think that's going to be a good one.
It's good that, regardless, look at us both. We're talking about the Hogs and Vols, and we're talking about two of the biggest games truly in the national slate.
Yeah, no, that's what
matters.
I was looking at the schedule.
Biggest.
I'm looking at the schedule right now, and it's like there's nothing really. There's a couple solid games like
Clemson, Wake Forest could be interesting.
Yeah, Clemson, Wake Forest, Ohio State, Wisconsin. Honestly, look out for Northern Illinois against Kentucky. I know Northern Illinois has back-to-back SEC games because they just played Vandy last week and actually lost. So
yeah, now they're prepared.
Yeah, Vandy has three wins.
They beat the over already.
Let's go. I think we said that back in.
Yeah, we said over 2.5, right?
Did we? Yeah. I think I said no. I didn't think they were going to do. I thought they were going to be right at 2.
I don't know. I'm going to say I said it because no one's going to go back and check it.
Yeah, I'm not going to check.
I definitely predicted that.
I'm pretty sure.
Vandy and their prize for hitting the over, they do get to go down to Tuscaloosa this week. So
nice. Just a reckoning.
But they do have that true fresh. They put in that true freshman quarterback Swan or whatever, and he was dicing it up.
Yeah, Mike White got so hot and then got benched in week 3.
Yeah,
it's tough to see.
I know everyone who I knew that's a Vandy fan was so pumped for Mike Wright, and now it's might already be over. Honestly,
yeah. We've talked a little bit about next week. Let's look back just a little bit.
Yeah, how was a
trip to Huskerland
game? That's what I want to hear about too.
Dude, trip to Huskerland was great.
How were the vibes pregame, and then how'd that turn? Kind of.
Oh yeah. Well, here, let me just there's a lot going on. So
go for it.
I don't know if y'all saw it, but there are a lot of rumors coming out about Frost pretty recently. Just I guess now that he's gone, the floodgates kind of opened, and I didn't give it much thought because at first I was like, okay, where was this when he was coaching? Like if you wanted him fired, this would have been the way to do it. But I guess it was kind of the athletic department needs to keep it under wraps. If a writer says something like that, you risk losing your job, all this stuff, covering the team. Because all the people I heard it from pretty much confirmed everything that was coming out. The fact that showing up late to meetings, showing up late to practice, the dude was a total drunk, partying with co-eds, banging cart girls.
Nice.
So the whole golf thing was, I guess, pretty true. Apparently he missed his press conference in Ireland because he was literally playing golf, which honestly respect. You're in Ireland, you got to play a little golf. But and I don't know what happened. I don't know if the pressure got to him and he just started letting loose, and then that just became his thing, or if he just got complacent because he got his dream job and he thought he was all good to go. But it makes me sad. It's disappointing to hear that. Obviously I can't confirm that for fact, but it did seem like everyone I was talking to pretty much said that was the case. So that sucked to hear. Going along with that, we were walking around the facilities, I guess Friday, and right as we were walking around, Mickey Joseph and the boys were hopping on the bus. So saw Coach right as I was walking by, went in, walked around the facilities a little bit. They're building, they've got a $150 million facility construction going on right now. So there's not a whole lot to where you can go right now. But anyway, no, dude, I love Mickey Joseph though. That was one thing I got out of this. The way he's been in press conferences and the way he's overhauling the program and saying, look, we're going to recruit, we're going to be here forever. We're not going to sabotage this program. We're going to do it the right way. You picked the right guy for the interim job, at least. Is he going to last? I don't know. If I was betting on it, I'd say probably not, but I think he's got, he's kind of playing with house money. He's got the support of Husker Nation behind him because there's no real pressure. The season's kind of already done. So whatever you do from now on, you're not even really going to get the blame for. But I don't think he looks at it like that either. The guy's awesome. One of the best recruiters in the nation, a very good speaker just in general, answers questions, doesn't mess around with all the outside noise. But yeah, love Mickey. So game day, early kickoff, big noon kickoff. I was pretty optimistic. A lot of people were just thinking, hey, maybe we play loose. No one really had super high hopes, but at a certain point, after I cracked my first Busch Light at 8 a.m. after a couple hours of tailgating, I was like, hey, we're going to win this game. We go in, stop them on their first drive, get it back, score right away. I mean, just chop them up. We're up 7-0, and I was feeling awesome. And then that was about it. It was pretty bad from then on. Honestly, props to Oklahoma and Brent Venables because they could have scored 70 on us if they wanted to. The tackling is atrocious. I don't know. And that's what Mickey Joseph said he was going to work on that a lot, just getting guys back to the fundamentals. And it's a good thing we got a bye week coming up this week. So hopefully they can work on hopefully they can work on a bunch of fundamentals this week and then kind of work on getting ready for Indiana next week. And I mean, you've got a couple winnable games coming up. I mean, you play Indiana and Rutgers, and I know things look bad, but there's no reason you can't beat both of those teams, honestly.
You gotta, I mean, at the end of the day, let's go out there and win a few games.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have winnable ones. So go out and win. Like, it's not that hard. You got enough players to do it.
It's like he really, I mean, I really hope he can pull off a couple because, you could legitimately have a 1-win season right here. I mean, that's what it's turned into. If things are really that bad and you don't win at least one of these coming up, and then you don't steal one down the road, it would be a historically bad season. Not that the last couple of years haven't been, but you know what I mean? Like a 1 in the win column is pretty, I mean, that's not something I've experienced in my lifetime.
Yeah, I went back-to-back 2s, and you do not want to go there, man. You do not want to take it there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm optimistic. I do have a different kind of outlook on the season. We got a couple decommitments already, but we also had a lot of guys basically recommit or basically say that they're sticking with Nebraska no matter what, no matter who's the coach. So coaching search is still on. Oh, I do have to mention Urban Meyer and Trev Alberts Urban Meyer and Trev Alberts did have a meeting Friday night. And here's why I say that. I heard that from Steve Sipple on a message board on a Husker website, and he's a writer, like been writing for the Huskers forever. He's an inside source. He would know that information. Pete Thamel comes out, who must just have it in for the Huskers. He does not like the Huskers for some reason. And I've never seen someone do this. He comes out and says there was no meeting between Urban Meyer and Trev Alberts. Like, that's not true. And me and Wes, my brother, kind of looked at each other and we're like, what does that even mean? Like, how can you say something didn't happen and you know that? Like, who did you?
You're obviously just covering up that it did happen.
Yeah.
If it didn't happen, you wouldn't have to say anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam Carricker, who does some stuff for the Omaha World Herald and Husker legend, played in the NFL for a long time. He has his own short little show. And he came out and responded to that and said, no, I know that Urban Meyer and Trev met. I don't like, and that there is mutual interest between the two parties. So I don't know if that means anything's going to come of it. But he said, no, that happened. I received a text from an inside source who knows that they met and there was mutual interest. So I'll tell you what, I would be all in on Urban. A lot of people relate it to selling your soul to the devil. But you know what? I'm at the point, I wouldn't hate winning 9 or 10 games in a couple of years. So, and I think he could do that at a place like Nebraska. So, not saying he's my number one choice by any means, but I would not hate it.
That would be my number one choice. I mean, the dude has either gone undefeated or won a national championship at every school he's been to.
Yeah, but a little different. Let's be honest. Let's be real for a second. Nebraska is not Ohio State when he took it.
Florida, Utah.
I know. Yeah, but Nebraska is not like Urban's not in program building mode. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think Urban's going to sit through 2 years of being bad. Like, I think I don't know. I wouldn't want Urban, dude. Everything that came out of Jacksonville was terrible.
Oh yeah, I know. But
I think he's just not a guy for the pros, though.
I know, but I'm just saying, I think he's just lost. Like,
no, yeah, there's baggage, but I would totally be shocked if in year 2, like year 1 could look like anything. I may have said this last week, but year 1, I don't know what it would look like. Year 2, I would be very surprised if he didn't pull off 8 wins.
Yeah, he'd have 8 or 9 wins year 2 for sure. Because I feel like it's been coaching blunders and like just shooting yourselves in the foot this entire time. Like if you have a good in-game management coach who knows how to put guys in a position to win, Nebraska has the talent to win, especially in the Big 12. Like, I mean, I just think
well, that's the thing. You're in the West, in the Big Ten West, where it is wide open. Like it's open right now. Like if you got together a team that was pretty solid next year, you could win 7 games. Like you could. There's just not a lot of good teams in the Big Ten West. Even Wisconsin just lost to Washington State, who was probably, Wisconsin was probably thought of as the best team in the West. And now obviously they're not. Iowa can't score a touchdown to save their lives. You got Minnesota, who's, played cupcakes, but they're kind of a perennial 8-win team. Maybe they really exceed expectations and win 10 games one year. But it's wide open.
Yeah, I think I would equate it a little bit. That's why it's probably even more frustrating a little bit, is because you take a guy like Frost, and if he does kind of what you think he should do coming into Nebraska, like the Big Ten West has been very takeable, winnable the last several years. Like I kind of equate it back to when Tennessee had some really good chances to win the East.
Florida was bad.
Down.
Georgia was bad. Kentucky
when it was down, and they never quite did it. And yeah, they have another good team now, but Georgia's now just, and I don't think there's a Georgia waiting in the wings of the Big Ten West to just probably sit there. And Georgia's got kind of a lock on the East for a while, kind of like Bama has had for the last while. Like, yeah, some teams might win it every now and then, but more than likely they're going to be up there every single year. So the Big Ten West doesn't have that. So It would just be nice to, win a few of those. Like Nebraska should be winning the Big Ten West 1 out of 3 years. I'd say that's pretty.
With Northwestern, Iowa, Wisconsin, it's so winnable.
Yeah. So, I don't see Urban as the guy, and it's not me. So I can't put myself truly in your shoes and be like, I want Urban. I don't want Urban, but I'm also happy with my coaching situation at the moment. So I do also get the allure. I get the allure of Urban. I think he's past he kind of peaked and he's on the downhill slope. I just don't think, I think he's kind of lost it as a leader. I don't think people view him as serious. And I think he had kind of a certain aura about him as a winner, as a good leader, that kind of stuff. I feel like that's kind of washed away. I don't view him as that anymore. I view him as a disgrace. I literally view him as someone who no one gets fired after 1 year in the NFL. You have to have such disorganizational failure to do that.
Was it 13 games?
The off the field stuff was embarrassing. The on field play was embarrassing. The team was never prepared. And it was pro versus college. I get it. But come on. It's just his last look as a coach of anybody is just embarrassing.
But that's what he needs. He needs to redeem himself.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be cool. I don't think it's going to happen. I get that. I get that perspective. That's my perspective. That's my take.
I just think I think the off the field stuff was the worst part in Jacksonville. On the field, pro and college is so different. You just can't coach the same. It's a totally different style. The story I heard from one of his old assistants, someone asked him what makes Urban so great, and it's he just demands greatness out of everyone that he comes into contact with. And the thing with trying to do that in the pros is it's that only goes so far when you're dealing with grown men as opposed to
because they're all pretty great too. It's kind of managing them more than
when it's not, you can't you almost can't push them as hard. They have to do
bully
that on
them
their
into
own.
being good like you can kids.
Yeah,
that's fair. Just needs to come and bully everybody. I'm
a fan of bullying if it makes you win 10 games. Sure, bully the hell out of my team if it gets 10 wins.
And that's what. So it's funny you mentioned that. There was a lot of people mentioning, the whole stuff with Frost, just off the field stuff, what the heck is going on. And obviously, you didn't hear a lot about it. But even if you knew about it and the guy was winning games, truthfully, if you heard Heupel was doing that and he comes off and
I would
beats
be
Florida
wow,
50 to
more power
nothing.
to him. You can somehow bang cart girls and get drunk off your ass and win 10 games in the SEC. You're a legend.
So it's funny that makes me think of kind of how all this stuff comes out after the fact. Makes me think of when Bielema got fired at Arkansas. It was like
Yeah, he
very
was
similar
sloppy at
stories.
recruiting dinners, right? And
Yeah, it's just like very similar stories of him having probably honestly some deeper serious problems. But it was like none of this really came out before he got fired. But now that he's fired, it's like everyone was seeing it like happen, and everyone knew that it was bad. Like everyone, the rumors and stuff start to circulate after the fact, which that absolutely plays in to his unsuccess on the field. Like, yeah, if you could do it and have success, people would like throw it under the rug. Who cares? But it's hard to. You don't see Saban having those kind of stories come out. Like Saban literally just goes home and studies more film. Like he's not out there partying and like or anything. Honestly, yeah, a football coach, especially in season,
what about
grinding?
Kiffin?
If you're really grinding, you can't be like. See, but I doubt Kiffin really does it like you think anymore. I think that might have been part of his former coaching life. I think he might have found the Lord
Jack
down there.
Said he used to see him out like at the bars.
That's maybe true. Kiffin's his own animal though. Like that is part of Kiffin.
Kiffin is just a freak.
Yeah. That's not like a problem for Kiffin. That's just who he is.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I do.
So yeah, a lot of distractions, just a lot of off the field bad behavior that you don't want to see from your head football coach at an institution like Nebraska.
Yeah. No.
And a shame.
My first choice is still Dave Aranda. I think that would be awesome. I think he'd be a good fit. But
yeah.
Urban's got to be in the top 3, right?
Huh?
Is Urban in your top 3?
I mean, not like that's the thing. Urban's not really like if we hire Urban, I won't be disappointed. But he's not like someone I'm shooting for.
He's not on your like short list.
I guess not. I mean, technically he probably is, but I mean, I would rather hire Urban than like Matt Campbell. Like if they hire Matt Campbell, I would be very disappointed.
I feel like that was like
I'd like that. Iowa State's been pretty good. If you win at Iowa State, dude.
No, that's what they said about Mike Riley, dude. That's literally the exact same thing.
Mike Riley, that was bad.
That's like when
that's what
Matt Campbell has won 9 games one time at Iowa State. That's the best he's ever done. He won 9 games.
Yeah, that's kind of true. All right, that's a fair point.
Yeah,
fair point.
If he was winning, but my thing is, if he was winning and he won some big games, I'll give him that. But I mean, you had Brock Purdy and Breece Hall. Like you had a kind of a chance to really make your run. The Big 12 is not that great,
They almost won it though.
They did almost win it. Did they go to the Big 12 championship? I guess.
I actually think they lost the week before.
Okay.
They were close, but I don't think they actually went.
I just don't like. He's had some like Butch Jones isms when I've heard him in press conferences, and that's what turned me off. I didn't think much of it before, but that turned me off.
It's a fair turn off. I'll be honest. That is not what you want to hear out of a head coach. Yeah, anyone like, dude, that PJ Fleck, that gets so old so fast. Like, yeah, year 1 and year 2, it might get people going, and you show improvement. But the minute it starts to falter, it's just painful. It's just painful. Yeah. That's what we're feeling with Shane Beamer right now. Like, yeah, it's good. Dude, it's all good and dandy when you're on the up, but like once things start going south, it's tough to watch. It's brutal. Drinkwitz is kind of the same way. It's like, oh, we come in with some fancy sayings and some cute little stuff and things. Yeah, you get better from year 1 to year 2 because the year before they were terrible. That's why they fired their coach for you to come in there. Of course, you're going to show improvement, and then you just kind of go downhill and it's all over. I think Harson's on his way out. Auburn just got picked apart by Penn State, let's be honest, Penn State is probably pretty good, but also probably like the 4th or 5th, if not like best team they're going to play. Like I put Alabama, Georgia definitely above them. I probably Arkansas just absolutely steamrolled them last year in the bowl game. A very different situation, I understand.
No, I'd agree. I'd say Arkansas is better though.
And then you still got to play A&M and LSU, and LSU looked really good against Mississippi State. I was pretty surprised by that. I've been pretty high on Mississippi State, and they just came out and could not really score, and they gave up a lot of points to an LSU team that looked really pretty bad on offense the first couple of weeks. I don't know who else they play, but they obviously got to play Ole Miss, who looked good against Georgia Tech. Rushed the ball like 60-something times. I don't think that's going to win consistently in the SEC. I don't think you're just going to be able to gash opponents like that every week, but still impressive nonetheless. Yeah, just Auburn's. I mean, I've been saying it for a very, very long time that Auburn was in for a bad year. The signs were all there. They were all there. So I think Harsin will be on his way out. I mean, maybe he takes a flyer for Nebraska and just becomes a Nebraska guy. It's closer to Idaho. I was just so convinced. Brian Harsin had spent like 85% of his professional life in Idaho, and that just does not prepare you to win in the SEC West. I don't really care. Like, you're just not ready.
Yeah.
And he showed it. Like, he's not been ready. His team's not ready. His quarterback stinks. Not good. Not good at all.
Dude, I'm waiting. You touched on kind of Beamer there a minute ago. I'm waiting for Shane Beamer he's going to have a meltdown. It's not like a true meltdown or implosion at some point. Like, I know the whole thing at him yelling at the girls to get off the field, that was one thing. But dude, I keep seeing clips of him in press conferences just like not even
out, like
just acting immature. Like, it's like, dude, this is your job, like you can get mad, but he is like, he's not even just mad. It's like he throws a fit, kind of like a little kid. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think Tennessee might break him this year. That'd be awesome if Tennessee dropped like 60 on him and he just
back-to-back season 60 burgers. That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome. I really.
How can you call yourself a serious program if you don't fire a coach that gave up back-to-back 60 burgers against like not even a national championship team? I mean, I'm not like to say the balls could be there this year, but like last year they were, I mean, decent, but like nothing that special.
Yeah, 7-6, like.
Yeah. So like if you're doing that to 7-6 conference teams, like you're not the long-term answer. I don't care. You're just not.
Dude, it was funny too, because I thought I kind of liked Beamer at first, and then that changed real quick, man.
That's what I said, man. At first, it's like, oh yeah, this guy's fired up. He's excited. He's got a lot of energy. He's funny, and then it's just constant. Just wears on you. Just wears you down, and then you start losing, and then you're immature, and just a bunch of stuff that just it all goes together. It's like nothing. One thing he does is like super annoying or awful or like on its own right. But like you combine the way he loses a bunch of games, like they won a few games. They haven't beat anybody significant since he's been there. They literally have not won one game of significance while he's been there.
Yeah.
And so he loses a lot. And to be fair, that's a pretty tough stretch to open the year with games at Arkansas and then Georgia at home and your first 3 weeks is like not ideal. I will say that. But anyway, yeah, it just wears on you, wears thin. When Butch Jones started to go downhill, it went downhill fast because it was like it just wore out. Like his little stick was just gone.
Champions Alive stick. Yeah, that needed to.
5-star hearts.
5-star hearts.
Yeah, that was bad.
I mean, he was just a bad dude. Butch Jones is just the biggest like nerd. Like just
dude, I loved they did the little Saban school segment on game day, and it was so funny because it was Butch, it was Bill O'Brien, Kiffin, and maybe someone else, but it was so funny because
Sarkisian.
Yeah, Sark. Yeah, Sark. And they were interviewing all the guys, at their new jobs and stuff. And in the narration, it was like Sarkisian, Kiffin, and O'Brien all eventually got promoted and Loxley all eventually were promoted to offensive coordinator. Butch Jones was special assistant to the head coach. And I was just like, he was literally a freaking gopher. Like the dude wasn't even like he's getting interviewed with this, but he is just so not in the class with the rest of these guys, Like Saban definitely did not trust him to call plays. I just thought that was so funny. They interview like 5 guys, and one of them is just clearly not as
like
good
the
as
others.
Yeah.
That's all
All right, boys. Well, I think we can close it out with that. Got a big weekend ahead. Looking forward to it. I mean, Vols and Hogs, man, big games this weekend. I'm pumped.
Games. We're going to be talking about.
Both will be in the top 10 after these wins.
I was just going to say, we're going to be talking about some serious. I mean, we're right there. Like, we're 4-0, 4 weeks in with some big wins already under our belts. Like, come on.
Just think of the Vols. What is it going to be? 5-0 going into Alabama.
Yeah, and the Hogs will be if Arkansas wins this weekend. Yeah, 4-0 going into Bama at home.
Bama drops 2 in a row, maybe.
turn it up.
Out.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying they haven't looked very good on the road in recent years.
That'd be nuts.
They're gettable, man. They're gettable.
Yeah.
They'll also probably Bryce Young will throw 8 touchdowns against Arkansas and beat us, but
hey, we'll see.
They're gettable. I won't believe that when I walk in the stadium. And this is my charge for anybody still listening to this. If anybody's going to the games, if you're going to the Razorback game next weekend, if you're going to the Tennessee game next weekend, do not walk in that stadium unless you believe the Vols or the Hogs are going to win. Do not step your foot in Neyland Stadium this weekend if you do not believe with your full heart that Tennessee is going to win this game. There is no doubt. Yes, losing is part of the game. One team will walk home a loser. That you have to accept that fact. But you do not walk in if you do not believe the Vols are winning. If 100,000 people believe that and just give their all for Tennessee, the Gators stand no chance.
I will give my all for Tennessee today. I can guarantee you that. That's
all we can ask. If we all give our all, there's no stopping us.
We're gonna be cooking up some Gators, boys, roasting them.
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah.
All the way to the top 10.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again for listening. This has been Pay Dirt Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. Be sure to check them out at sixpackcoverage.com or on social media at Six Pack Coverage. Check us out on Twitter at paydirt_sports, on Instagram at Paydirt Sports, and check out the website paydirtsports.blog. Guys, thanks again for listening, and we will see y'all next week.
Pay Dirt out.